64-58, the final at Welsh Ryan Arena. They are going bonkers at Welsh Ryan. And at the Court Storm, the Wildcats are dancing on the floor, and we're talking about it with you right now. Sirius XM College, Channel 84. It's Field of 68 after dark in the afternoon on this Super Sunday. John Fanta, Geo Baker, Matt McCall. We're taking a deep dive, folks, on number one, falling. Purdue loses 64-58. Now, before we talk a little bit about Northwestern, Purdue in this game, Zach Edey goes for 24 points and 8 rebounds. Played very well. Edey did have 6 turnovers, though. And Purdue as a team ended up with 16 turnovers. So, for either of you, is there a little bit of a turnover problem here for Purdue? Because it seems like this is something that's coming up when they do have some of their flaws, when they do have some of those areas. Is this something that should be cause for concern as the season intensifies here and you get into, your win or go home games?
Gio, go ahead, man.
I was going to say that, it's a cause for concern come March. It's a way for them to lose. Is it a problem? I don't want to go that far. At the end of the day, they're 23-3. You can't really call anything a problem when that's your record. But and we were saying this earlier in the show too, but that we're starting to see a recipe of how they can lose, and we're starting to see a recipe of what their weaknesses are, and turnovers are part of it. And at the end of the day, this backcourt is a young backcourt. They're freshmen, and Edey is turnover prone when you pressure him the right way, and he showed it today with 6 turnovers. So is it something that is a weakness and teams can use that against them? Absolutely. Is it a problem? I can't say that when they've only lost 3 games all year.
I couldn't agree with Gio more. You've got a young backcourt. Like we saw with the Court Storming, unbelievable environment today. They're 23-3, so it's hard to say that throw up the red flag. It's watch out. They're done. They have no shot to get to Houston. No, they're still one of the best teams in the country that played in a difficult environment on the road, and credit Northwestern for the way they played. But again, what's the recipe? How do teams now attack them? Pressuring the guards, especially when that ball gets across half court. Now here's the other key, Fanta. If you have guards that can do it, do you have guards that can guard the ball, that can go out there and pressure? Because some teams don't have that. I'm just calling it like it is. There's guys and guards that can't guard the ball at midcourt. They'll get beat off the bounce. So if you have the guards that can pressure, if you have the length and athleticism to challenge passes on the wings, and if you have someone strong enough inside to try and get Edey off the block, right? Is there someone on your team that can meet him when he's running down the floor, getting to the halo, and you can meet him at the conference logo just below the free throw line so he doesn't get position, especially in transition, running the floor? Those are all if you have, right?
Yeah.
And then once they get into their sets and they're running it and you want to double the post, when you double the post, you're putting 2 on the ball. It's like pick and roll coverage. You're committing 2 to the basketball. So if he's throwing it out, that means someone on the floor is open because you got 2 guys on the ball. So if he finds that open man, does that guy make the shot? So there's a lot of what ifs. They're still one of the best teams in the country. Credit Northwestern for how they played. But can your team pressure guards? Can they get out and deny passing lanes? And when you double team, can they be really, really good, not only with your rotations to getting out to shooters, but with your closeouts and not getting beat off the bounce?
Purdue has committed 49 turnovers over the last 3 games. 49. They've had at least 16 turnovers in the last 3. So I'm going to take it a step further than both of you because, yes, they are 23-3. And, yes, I do still believe they can make a deep run. But when you turn the basketball over, you leave yourself susceptible to falling into a trap against anybody. And the other thing is, when Purdue's been set in a half court, whether they're on offense or defense, You could argue that they're the best team in the sport. All right? You really could. And they've been a top 25 defensive team all season long. That's been a huge difference for this team, is that they've been great defensively. But today and in the last 10 days, these turnovers have been a problem. Now, it didn't come back to bite them at all against Iowa, but it did against Indiana, and it did against Northwestern. You can both say it's difficult to win on the road in the Big Ten. It's difficult to win on the road in any conference. There's no question about that. While also saying that for the Boilers, this is as much cause for concern as they've had all year.
Yeah.
And in a sport where timing is everything, not the best time for it to happen, because I guess my point is when you lose 2 of 3, guys, you both have been in locker rooms. You both know how things work. When you've lost 2 of 3, Gio, do you as players say, we got this, we're good? Or do you as players start to have that moment of, you know what? Okay, we have committed 16 or more turnovers in 3 straight games. Like, guys, we've got to correct this now if we're going to be the team we want to be in March. How's that all go?
I think it's both. I think it's both. They're like we just said, they've lost 3 games all year. So that, yes, we are good. We are firmly in the NCAA tournament. We are firm. I think they've already clinched a double bye in the Big Ten tournament. So the mindset is, yes, we are good. And then it's also, yeah, we got to correct this because it's a lot bigger than just going to the NCAA tournament. It's a lot bigger than getting that double bye in the Big Ten tournament. We are trying to go to Houston. So I think it's a little bit of both. You do understand that you have the problem, and Coach Painter is an amazing coach. I have a ton of respect for him. He's going to make sure to point out what's going on. He's going to make sure to point out the turnovers. He's going to hold the entire team accountable. But I think he also has that calming presence of like, look, this is where we're at in the season, and we are still a very, very good basketball team. But we just need to correct this one thing because we want to do more than just a double bye. We want to do more than just make the NCAA tournament. We're trying to win the NCAA tournament. So I think it's a little bit of both. And I'll admit I've never been in the position of Purdue. I've never only lost 3 games in a season. So, but that's how I would approach it if I was in their position.
Yeah, I mean, even going back to the Indiana game, they turned it over 16 times in that game as well. They have a 3-game lead. I was just looking this up. They have a 3-game lead with 5 games to play to win a conference championship, a regular season championship, too. So, and I'm not saying this is happening with Purdue, and I think you have to give all the credit in the world to Northwestern, but is there? Hey, we're like Gio said, we're going to be okay. Like we hold our own destiny. We got a chance to win a championship. We're in a great position. But man, that game on Thursday at 6:30 at Maryland, that's going to be a big one because they're going to get pressed, and that whole turnover thing is going to come back into the equation here. Taking care of the basketball in that game will be the number 1 key for Purdue to pull out that game because it's going to be rocking on Thursday night.